All righty. What's going on, guys? We are live. It is Wednesday night, 7 p.m. It is the Screaming Room. Good to see everybody. We have got a few of you in the chat already. Garrett's in the chat. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you. We're going to say hi to everybody else. But tonight, we are talking about quite a bit. And we just lost Bethany. That's okay. She'll be back. But tonight we're talking about quite a bit. Terrifier 3 has a release date. So for those of you excited about that, we'll be talking about Terrifier 3. Abigail just outgrossed Renfield and Demeter. So we'll be talking about Abigail. We all watched that. And so we're going to give a review. We will probably be seeing this spoiler alert banner a little bit during our discussions. So just FYI on that. And then Mike Flanagan comes on as executive producer of Chris Stuckman's horror movie, Shelby Oaks. So we'll be talking about that as well. But that's what we got going on in the Screaming Room. Are you guys excited for that?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Mike Flanagan comes on the show.
No.
Yeah.
We're still working on that. But anyway, so that's what we're going to be talking about right after this. It wasn't until 2020 that I actually sat down and watched Texas Chainsaw.
All right, how do I turn this on?
Yeah, and we're live. It is the Screaming Room. There's Bethany again. How's it going, girl?
I always forget to log in. And
I was just about to click to bring you back.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there patiently waiting.
Yeah.
So how was everybody's week? It's mine and Jay's first week. Jay wasn't technically off, but it was our first week off from the Hellgate. And getting all of our footage backed up and secured and making sure that everything was offloaded correctly. I'm looking at the toaster right now that's holding the SSD drive or the I don't know how you would say it, the drives that have all of the footage. And I'm going to be starting editing hopefully on Monday because I have at least 4 or 5 days worth of file organization to do because I am also my own assistant editor. So that's what we're doing. But how was your guys' week? What'd you guys get into?
Pretty good. Yeah, definitely good. I've just been working, doing what I always do. Just trying to drop as much content as I can.
We saw Abigail.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Yeah, you have some news. Go ahead and tell people.
So I randomly, spontaneously was urged and pushed over the last 5 years to keep doing my own thing. So I'm going to do my own LOL entry this year. And I am almost finished writing it. So
explain what that
really excited. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the LOL Film Festival. So it's the Love Our Locals While Laughing Out Loud local film festival. And so it's 3 nights and it's in August in Jacksonville, Florida. And there are tons of amazing entries. So hopefully my submission will make it. But I have an amazing DP to shoot it for me. So I
We're
think
tired.
I'll even if it sucks, it'll get on looks alone.
Have they been like turning down submissions for this?
Yeah.
Oh, they absolutely have to. Yeah. Yeah, there's too many. Yeah.
It's not easy.
Wow.
It's not that easy to get in.
Our first submission, we got turned down. And they were like, try again next year. Yeah.
And it's for shorts.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. It's shorts. They have to be 10 minutes or less.
Because of me.
Yeah. Because of Shoot the Sky. Yeah. So,
Very cool.
Sorry, I'm messing with my camera here.
yeah.
Yeah, we can hear that.
So mine is going to be more like a skit than a complete,
Nope.
movie. But
Not letting that happen.
yeah, I'm just saying.
It'll be a movie.
Yeah. I'm laughing at it.
It's gonna be. I know. I already know.
Laughing at my own jokes. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
excited.
That's exciting. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you guys heard that because my webcam is picking up my audio, not my microphone. So let me fix that.
Yeah, I was wondering why you sounded echoey.
I probably sound a little bit weird. Sorry, give me a second. Let me mute myself, and you guys can talk about. Well, you guys saw Abigail, so let's just get into that, and let's give our opinions on Abigail real quick while I fix my mic. So give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Well, I thought it was super fun.
So did you guys have like an actual review or?
Didn't get the right
Jay?
one.
Okay, that's fine. So you enjoyed it. What were the highs and lows for you?
The highs for me was definitely the way it was shot, the look of it. It looks nice. And the little girl who plays Abigail, I thought she did really just an excellent job. And like Jay leaned over as soon as they, showed like the beginnings of her character, and Jay looked over. He was like, "This kid had so much fun making this movie," and I was like, "Yeah, she did." And so that was really fun to watch her.
I thought in the second half of that movie, she was genuinely like terrifying. Like she, like surprised me on how scary of a vampire she became, because I don't know, vampires, like a lot of the horror genres, have been done to death, and a lot of times I don't know, I just kind of expected her to be just kind of more funny, a little bit of like a Renfield feel almost, where it not really, but this actually goes, because a lot of people are calling it a comedy. I think there's humor in it, but I wouldn't call it like a comedy horror movie. I think it has humor, but I still feel like it was, especially in that second half, it feels very much like a horror movie. The final act of this isn't a comedy horror movie. I thought it was, like a horror movie.
It felt like the end, definitely, with some of the twists. Like, well, first of all, it was, I'm not gonna like say it's an amazing movie. It was really fun. It was really fun. It was extremely predictable. It was very, like you knew everything. It was like they told you everything that was gonna happen. Like everything was set up perfectly. But the end, now that I think about the end, I feel like whoever wrote that movie, they were a big fan of Cabin in the Woods, just because the way they tried to make it kitschy at the end with some of the, I don't know, twist here, twist there. Wait, no, I don't know.
Yeah, without getting too spoilery.
Like,
I agree with like they kind of flipped it on its head a little bit, but I agree. I think it was a predictable movie. I said in my initial review of it on the channel, or on my channel, is, I thought it was exactly what it was trying to be. It was trying to be a lighthearted, fun horror experience, not taking itself too serious, like not straight up a comedy horror movie, but definitely a lighthearted, kind of thing. It's not meant to scare you. It's not meant to be like, like I always say, it's not trying to reinvent the wheel. It like knows what it's trying to be, and it's kind of like Ready or Not, the same kind of feel I got from that
seems
movie.
Like it was just having fun with itself, and I don't know, embracing the ridiculousness. So I like horror movies like that are just fun and it's like going through the fun house at the fair.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like you're not
Yep.
really scared, but it's
Yep.
just it's fun to just be like, woo, because they definitely had a few jump scares in there that got me. But I'm an easy get when it comes to jump scares.
No,
So
it
that's
had.
not a flex.
I thought it had a couple, like two in particular, pretty quality. You know, they're not just a cat jumping out of a cupboard kind of jump scare. Like they were a little more legit than that. What about you two? What did you guys think of?
Jay, you want to go first?
Your highs and lows.
Sure.
Your highs and lows.
Is my mic better, by the way, guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. Jay, you can go first.
Sound normal now.
It's a weird one for me. It's a mix. I wanted it to be over sooner than it was over, so I felt there was some drawn out parts at the end. I think it was shot very well. It wasn't shot in a realistic way. It was very like pretty to look at. There was some lights that didn't make sense, but it was like it just was very stylized, and I appreciated what they did. Characters. The bad guy, I didn't like his Metal Gear Solid voice. I'm kind of over that, like that bad guy who's everything's like this, stuff's like this.
Bad guy.
The guy who turns the
cop,
lead,
the ex-cop.
Yeah. His thing was like his thing got to me.
But that's what I meant when I said like it knew what it was, and that was like intentional, because I feel like he was. Because we've seen what's his name, that actor, Daniel, I don't know, no, I'm forgetting it. It's Dan Stevens. We've seen him, or at least I've seen him in a lot of different roles, like Apostle, where you know the guy can act. So I think it was very intentional. Like everybody's personalities and mannerisms were like turned up. And that's why to me,
right.
They were like
intentionally that way.
caricatures of characters.
Exactly.
So I thought it was like it was structured a bit like Die Hard with a vampire princess ballerina. It had that kind of feel. Like okay, everything suspend disbelief. I think it was.
Yeah.
It's weird because I like it more now in hindsight, thinking about it, than I liked it when I was there. Like I was bothered by a lot of things, but I knew it was still fun, and I knew I was nitpicking, and I was, some of the things like she said at the end, I thought I don't know why. I thought it should have ended like a little bit sooner. But
it almost has a false ending to it. Right. And I feel like that's kind of part of it, where it feels like it's going to end, and then it just kind of does a last little thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so and that made it.
Oh, here we go. It's still going.
Yeah.
I thought there was a couple.
Yeah, I felt the end was a little like I don't know if I'd go as far as to say clunky, but the ending doesn't feel quite as smooth as like the rest of the movie.
Clunky is definitely a word you could use for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the plot points.
I just don't know if I'd go quite that far though. Because clunky to me sounds amateurish, and I don't think it felt amateurish.
No.
I just think it wasn't as smooth as the rest of the movie.
I don't think anything in the movie felt amateur. I just think it was in love with itself at a point, and it needed to just kind of move on. And there were some heavy plot mechanisms that were at work, and they did a good job of setting a lot of things up and finishing them mostly off. I thought the blood was a little much. Actually, they went a little crazy on the pig's blood or whatever they used.
I thought the blood. That's okay. So that's
no.
All right, I'm gonna let you finish.
That's part of the tone of it. Like that's part of the fun of it. It was the blood being that way. But
that's what made me
I think there's a little bit of a producer. Like I felt a little bit of like studio interference when it comes to the ending. I felt like, and it could be them doing it, I don't know, but it felt like they were trying to make it set up for a sequel, and they didn't need to do that. Like the ending of it, like the way it ends, like a couple of the things that they do, it felt to me like someone going, hey, let's just make sure in case this is a hit that we can have a sequel to this. Because like it just is like the thing that every studio does now. The what?
The dad showing up, I was like that. That's I think when I was like, no, it's gotta.
That's what I mean by setting up a sequel. That to me felt tacked on. It felt like the movie should have been over, and then you're gonna add on this, like what? Why are we doing this?
Yeah,
you know.
and it wasn't even that satisfying. Like, it was like I could have done with anyway. I still, like I said, I don't think it's as good as Die Hard, but I think it's in that lane where it's a blockbuster. That's what it was aimed at. It was shot well, acted well, pretty well written, but it had high values. It has a good cast, a good looking cast, people you want to look at for an hour and a half or whatever. It has a good soundtrack.
Oh, really? Like who in particular? I mean, I'm just curious.
The sniper. Sniper was hot.
Rickles
was attractive.
That's
a weird
Wrinkles,
story.
The whole cast is
calling him
gorgeous. Like,
Wrinkles.
I don't care if you're a man or a woman. The whole cast is pretty in this movie. Like,
right, they did a good job.
There's good looking
All
people.
right.
It's one of my issues, I think, with Universal in general. I think we're seeing this more and more is because they're Universal, they can't just make an indie movie, like an indie horror movie. They're trying to make the Universal Monsters thing take off. And so they're throwing like more money at it than they need to. I feel like this is the kind of movie that would have done it would have been better if it had less of a budget. As weird as that
like
sounds.
half its budget.
Yeah, because it's like it isn't a blockbuster. Like, it's not that $100 million movie, but it's also not a $5 or $10 million like A24 like or Blumhouse. And like horror, I feel like works best when it has to be creative, when it doesn't just have everything thrown at it. And I felt like that was some of the things with this. It had a little too much of that polish on it, a little bit too much of that like getting cute with itself. And also, like I said, I could feel a studio involved. I don't know if I'd say interfering per se, but definitely involved in some of the decisions in this. Whereas Ready or Not didn't have those restrictions. And it's why I liked their movie Ready or Not more, because I felt like they were just as creative, did everything that this movie did, but on half the budget. And so they didn't have some of the bloat. They didn't have some of the like, you know what I mean?
Because the low budget horror, the low budget horror indie films, you're right. They do have this like vibe of grit, and we had to fight for this movie. You know what I mean? We had to fight to make this movie kind of thing. And, Joe Bob,
and also making everything count.
Cut off his 2 fingers, you know what I mean? But
like making every shot count, making every scene count. Like, the bigger budget sometimes, like it'll be like, we don't have to, if this scene's not, we can do a reshoot, or we can just do this in post or whatever. Whereas like smaller budget,
it's like they just
movies don't have that luxury.
Just totally unbothered and unconcerned. You know what I mean? Just thoughtless. You know what I mean? Just, this is just a movie. Like, we'll just throw this in there, and people will not, they won't care, because it's a fun movie.
Yeah. All right, DJ.
What my issue, here's my issue real quick with horror movies. And I'm not like this with regular movies, but I know that Pearl and X were better, I feel like, more crafted films. But I had more fun watching Abigail.
Yeah, but that's literally apples and oranges, though.
Because
you're talking about one that's a spectacle, it's about an experience, it's really just meant to be fun, that kind of thing, versus something that's meant to be artsy and takes patience. It's more of an adult horror movie versus like a late teens, early 20s horror movie.
That's my point.
But they have different goals, so it's hard to compare them because they're not, one's trying to be one thing, the other one's trying to do something else. Like you said, this is more of like a Die Hard kind of situation versus the other one's more of, it's like there's drama horror and then there's spectacle fun horror, and like they're very different. They're just,
my point is that I understand the differences, and for some reason I prefer, if I had to go sit in a theater, I would prefer to go back and see Abigail than the other two, even though I know they're aimed at me. I know they're crafted better. I know they're crafted more for story driven, to be a story driven narrative, other than that Die Hard experience, which is still, Die Hard's still a well written movie. It's just fun. It's a blast.
Die Hard. I mean,
you can have
Die Hard's got a much bigger budget though than any
and
of
you can have spectacle and substance. Die Hard
I
is
agree.
definitely a movie where you can have a good story and a lot of spectacle to keep you interested and keep the movie fun.
There's not much story to Die Hard.
It does its job. It's not right. The characters
I love Die Hard, but like it's not like I think it's a good comparison with Abigail, to be honest, as far as like, you know, yeah, one's horror, one's action, but as far as story, like both of them have a real basic kind of thin story. There's, you know, basic characters, there's basic plot points. It's not
the story of Die Hard is not thin. John McClane is a more realized character than yes.
He's a better character.
John McClane is a more realized character than any of the main characters in Abigail.
That's just simply Bruce Willis's performance.
No,
if you think about
what actually based off of information provided to us about the characters, is that where you're going off of?
No, I'm talking about just how the characters, how John McClane
acting
and talks is consistent with consistent with his character and his motivations than what the leads in Abigail were.
I wish actors had that much power.
So
I don't know. I think Melissa Barrera did a great job with what she was given in this, but I don't really think that. I mean, you can't compare Melissa Barrera to Bruce Willis, dude. I mean, Bruce Willis.
I'm not going to do that.
He was literally born to play that role, and
I don't think there were any bad roles, any bad acting roles in Abigail. I didn't see there was nobody that stuck out. Like I said, it was all quality.
Sorry, that's one of my critiques is that nobody stood out.
Let's hear DJ. DJ's kind of hasn't said his piece. So
that little girl stood out for sure.
Yeah.
So she was the one highlight of this film for me. I thought she was great.
So someone stood out, not no one.
Okay, fine. Yes, you're right. Abigail stood out, and Alicia Weir did a great job playing Abigail.
Yes.
And that's my praise. The story is stupid. All of the other characters are dumb. I didn't remember any of their names. So for me, the characters were Fodder, Black Guy, Muscles, Gen Z, and Detective and Plot Armor. Those were the names that I assigned these characters. Plot Armor was so annoying. It's Melissa Barrera's character. That one character scene that we get when they're all in the billiard room playing pool and Fodder goes and says, you know, I can read people. That's my skill. And then she's like, you're a fucking idiot. And like has better better observation and deductive reasoning skills than Batman and Sherlock Holmes put together. And she's like a fucking army medic. But she somehow has these skills. So no, sorry.
I just feel like that's such an odd criticism for this type of movie. Cause like, it's literally not about, it's like you totally miss the tone and the point of this kind of movie. Like it's not about like character development. It's not about their backstories and all that. It's literally like going into a haunted house. When you go into a haunted house, it's about it. Okay. One of these days, DJ, you'll grasp that horror movies or movies in general can be about the experience. They're not always about story. It's like I said, walking into a haunted house. When you walk into a haunted house, you don't stop and ask Dracula, what's your story, bro? Or walk over here and see Leatherface. What's your story? It's literally an experience. It's like one scene after another. It's bloody. It's a little creepy. It's moody. It's atmospheric. Like it's all those things.
Well, you wouldn't be scared of Dracula if you didn't know his story.
So
that's not true. When you go in a haunted house, you don't know their story. You don't know the scary guy with the chainsaw story or the scary guy hanging. You literally, it just looks scary. It's about an experience.
So movies.
The thing DJ's, I think, trying to say, movies can be both. Why not? So if they're
agreed, and I'm not saying I didn't say, but I didn't.
You can have a fun house horror movie.
This is like the best horror movie of this style. Or like I said,
I'm not asking for that.
But you're going as far as making it like it's a bad movie, and like it
is a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie, dude.
I thought it was fun. I didn't think it was.
Yeah, you can have fun. Listen, I have said this. Since episode 1 of this show. You can have fun and you can enjoy a movie and it can still be bad.
Right.
Abigail is not a good movie.
Angry that it's bad, so you didn't have fun.
Yeah.
No, but here's the thing. So Sam and I went to go watch this.
DJ's like, this is my fun face.
We both had more fun watching Abigail than we had watching fucking stop motion.
Then how is it a bad movie? If you had any
it's a bad movie because one of the characters is named Plot Armor for me. Because you knew the entire movie, nothing's going to happen to this bitch. So every time she's in a scene and there's danger, you're like, well, nothing's going to happen. She's going to get saved or she's going to do something. Or something.
She's literally the hero of the movie.
But you can have a hero of the movie. Like going back to the Die Hard comparison.
You're telling me
there's a lot of times in Die Hard where you don't know if John... I'm going to keep talking. There are plenty of times in Die Hard where you don't know if John is going to get out of the situation that he is in. In Abigail, you knew that Deus Ex Machina or something else was going to happen.
The movie.
Huh?
If you watch Die Hard, anyone who watches Die Hard and thinks for a second that the main guy you're focusing on and following through the movie could actually die, then you've literally never watched a movie before.
No, the whole point of a movie is to set up a situation, you introduce conflict and then resolution. And the characters coming through and solving the conflict. Fine.
I'm not saying it's like an amazing movie, man, but like if you have to use overused tropes, Deus Ex Machina, and all of these other cliches in order to get your characters out of these situations that you've written them in. You've not written a good movie. This movie started writing. I'm going to go through some stuff. This movie began writing this movie according to IMDb on April 11th. They went into pre-production on April 12th. They started filming in May. Do you think that was enough time for Stephen Shields and Guy Busick to develop a story? That's not when they started writing this script.
That makes me love this movie.
That's actually when it got officially greenlit. They had been already working on the concepts and the ideas behind this movie like for a while. Because it was brought to them. These writers were basically hired on by Radio Silence. Like they basically were like, hey, you're our hired guns to write this movie. But they had the ideas for this while they were working on Scream 5, I believe. So like it's not like it was
worse if they had more time to develop this story. And then what you guys all complained about the ending being tacked on. If they had enough time to write a complete story with characters that like adults, which these characters don't, they're all dumb except for Detective. Then they try to make him out to be a bad guy. He's the smartest character in the entire movie. And then they try to make him turn out to be a bad guy. They reveal
he is a bad guy from the very beginning. He's a bad guy. He's a cop that
they're all bad people.
Yeah, that's the fun of it.
So give me something to endear myself to these people, and you don't do that.
You're not supposed to. They're all bad people.
No, that's why. No, listen, that's why they gave her a child.
Yeah,
that's why they gave her a child.
And she also is the only one
that she makes it through, so you could root for her.
Yeah,
but she's the only one to the end. She makes it home to her son.
Her motives.
But I am dying to
motives
tell you how I wanted it.
Hang on. Bethany, keep go ahead.
Yeah. I'm dying to tell you how I wanted it to end because I wanted the movie to go like this. I wanted that plot armor girl to I wanted her to protect Abigail throughout the whole movie, right? Yeah. And so she's like Team Abigail, right? So Abigail's like, I see you, like I reward loyalty. And then the lady finds out, like the plot armor lady finds out that her son has a terminal disease, right? So she brings her son to Abigail and she's like, please. And Abigail's
turn him into a vampire.
Abigail's like, you come to me on the day.
Awesome. Bethany wrote a better ending
of my son's
that would
wedding.
Be awesome. That's a cool
and
idea.
Ask a favor. Yeah. So then Abigail
There's a lot of things
her
I wish
son
would happen.
And then the plot armor girl just becomes their caregiver, like let the right one in, like she just takes care of them, right? Because Abigail just wants a mom. That's why she's so pissed off. She just wants somebody to pay the fuck attention to her.
Yeah.
So
and then so
that's
why
right, and that's what plot armor girl would have fit right into that mommy role for her.
But no, she just wants her dad.
She would have had her son with her forever. No,
Like,
she's over her dad. No, she knows who he is. He
No,
has shown himself. She's
but
like
no,
over it. He doesn't care about her.
but
She
both
wants a mom.
characters. But here's both characters. Like Melissa Barrera fucked up and wants her kid back. You know, like
Right.
that's
Go
the
get
whole
your kid.
ending. That's the whole ending that I thought was cool about it. That I did like is the fact that it's like she righted in her head and in, you know, is able to. She's like, you know, because all of this was about her. It's about, and it's just like with Abigail and her dad. It's like their relationship is screwed up because of what's in the head. It's not like there's anything actually in the way. And it's the same kind of thing with her revelation kind of at the end of the movie that it's like, I'm the one stopping me from seeing my son. Like I can say it's because of money. I can say it because of this and that, but it's really just me. And it's the same kind of thing with Dracula and Abigail or whatever you want to call him.
But Plot Armor Girl is still a selfish character. So whenever she gets back to her son, here's another way it goes. No, listen, here's another way it could go. So she gets back and she gets her son. So then she still takes her son. Her son's not sick or anything. He's totally fine. But she's jealous. She's like so sad she missed out on all this time with him, right? So then she takes him to Abigail and she's like, please. But I like the terminal thing better. That works out better because then
but that's too dark. That's too dark. Yeah, I mean that's cool. It's a creative idea, but that's way too dark for this kind of movie.
Hold up. Too dark for Kanan. Somebody write it down.
Yeah, so this movie.
I'm saying it's stupid. It's like it would be a tonal shift. Like you can't have silly. That's kind of silly throughout.
I love
and then all of a sudden you're like,
I love
the kid's got cancer and he's dying. Like it's kind of
it works.
This movie,
the payoff they gave me with that was trash.
This movie had stupid characters. It set up rules that it did not follow. It set up vampire lore that it did not follow throughout the film. And then we get an ending like Jason said.
Hold on.
Do all that.
What vampire lore
rules did they break?
Okay, so I'm happy you asked. I'm happy you asked. I will gladly answer this question. So,
but garlic has been proven to be a myth a long time ago. So
that's fine. That's
forever
fine.
ago.
So it sets up its lore, or I guess one of the rules that it set up was that in order to kill a vampire, you have to drain its blood. Okay, so that's a rule that they set up. And I have to hang on. I got to put up this spoiler alert. So we're going to be getting into
cut off the head.
Okay, we're getting into spoiler territory.
No, with a vampire, you have to drain the blood to weaken it, then cut off its head. That's how you kill it.
In this movie,
you can't
Abigail
just kill it by simply draining its blood.
In this movie, Abigail.
That's why he ripped out the jugular on that guy. She specifically said that he had to drain all of her blood because the first time he drank her and thought that she was dead, it wasn't enough. So she says that, he hears it, goes back, drinks her again, and you think, oh, he's going to kill her because he now knows that he has to drink all of the blood. Oops. Apparently, I agree. So, I thought that felt a little bit shaky too. It was you're trying to scare us like she's going to die, but obviously she's not actually going to die. So like, it was like kind of a pointless thing. You're not really feeling the stakes there.
In order to create a vampire, the vampire has to bite you, and then you have to drink the blood of the vampire that sires you. That's what turns you into a vampire. Otherwise, if you're bit by a vampire, you become its mind slave. Okay, this movie set up this rule. And then Plot Armor doesn't become a mind slave. It's just enough time apparently didn't pass.
Explain that. I'm trying to remember what it was because they did explain that why she hadn't
explained
turned.
Too much.
No, but they said
the explanation is she was wearing plot armor.
Well, yeah, but no, they said in the movie, like I forget what it was that they said, but why she hadn't turned yet. Oh, because she wasn't bitten by the.
They said it wasn't enough time. The arbitrary amount of time.
Yeah, because she was
in order for plot armor to become a mind slave.
Yeah, because the person that bit her was killed. So she's fine.
Right. Yeah.
It's that way in all of vampires.
But why didn't she? But okay. But what I'm trying to say is, we see in the movie Gen Z, Lisa Frankenstein, becomes a mind slave of Abigail.
Yeah, but Abigail's
and
alive.
The same sequence of events happens, and enough time just didn't pass before Detective dies. So therefore, sorry, spoiler alert. Sorry, Jay. I keep fucking sorry.
Yeah, because you remember the young girl when she's bit. It takes there's a while where she doesn't turn, and they think she's not going to turn. Like it's like this in all vampires. Really, is it takes time to turn, and if you kill who bit you, if you kill. Either way, though, if you're bit, it doesn't. As long as you kill whoever bit you before you drink before you drank human's blood, then you don't turn. Like that's an old.
Okay, fine, but they didn't set that up in this movie. They introduced their own lore. They said, "Here it is. Here's the rules," and then they don't follow their own rules, and so that's a problem.
I just think you take some movies that are not meant to be taken that serious. Like you look at them through like a magnifying glass, and that's literally not.
It's not Barbie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
if you had fun with this, then that's literally an A+.
That's fine. No, but that's fine. If you want to go into this movie, you want to turn your brain off and you just want to watch ballerina vampire kill.
That's literally what I said in my review, but that doesn't make it But I'm not saying it's like an amazing movie. This isn't Cabin in the Woods, okay? It's just, and to me, Cabin in the Woods is like the king of this type of movie where it's like satirical, doesn't take itself that serious, kind of silly, but it still is a horror movie. Like Cabin in the Woods is like the king of that. And it's almost flawless at doing that type of movie. This isn't that, but it's still, but I wouldn't say it's a bad movie either. I think,
I would. Because I also didn't think that they had it. You guys are talking about it's not necessarily a comedy. It's not necessarily a horror. And I really wish they would have made up their mind. What are you trying to do? Why do you have all these jokes in here, but then you're also trying to be a serious horror movie? If you're going to be a horror comedy, be a horror comedy.
DJ, this is on you, man. You just don't understand the tone of things. You just don't get the tone.
It's not that I don't understand.
I hate to say this. Can I stick up for DJ for 1 minute? Never.
No.
I hate to say this.
Do you want to sleep on the couch?
So remember I said I was sort of bothered while watching it. I wanted to be over soon, but now as time has passed, I kind of think back and I was like, cool. Now here's why. Because all the things we've talked about is brought up back what DJ, his list was like all the shit that bothered me. All the stuff, that weird phone call at the end, a very forced moment. There's a lot of forced stuff on me. I think what he's trying to say is you can do this film and still have a lot of fun and have a bit better experience because the characters are not so cut out. If somebody had
I agree, but that doesn't make it a bad movie. That's all I'm arguing here. I'm not saying you couldn't make this movie better. I'm not saying there's not flaws and holes. What I'm saying is that's still a fun movie. That a bad movie to me, the only thing that makes a movie a bad movie is when it is not accomplishing what it's trying to accomplish.
I don't think it's like that.
Really? You said you had a good time with it. You said you were entertained by it. That's literally the only goal of this kind of movie.
You know what I and DJ were entertained by was the idea and the story, but they didn't execute it. I think I was more, that's what I'm thinking back. I'm like, that's a cool idea for a story. I just didn't think I thought they dropped the ball. And that's why I'm thinking I was having fond memories, but I'm like, but when you're bringing all this stuff up, I'm like, yeah, that really bothered me. Yeah, that really bothered me. I think I was frustrated because the idea was so good. I think maybe it was rushed. Maybe that was a rush. So I think the frustration's there. It's still fun because the idea was fun, but
we named off a number. You named off quite a few things that were positive about this movie.
There were positives.
So if those are true, how can it, one, be a bad movie, and two, how can it have dropped the ball? There is a line. It doesn't have to be a black and white. This is one of my frustrations with you guys, filmmakers and artists in general, because I'm just as bad if it's an art form that I am that I'm involved in, right? And it's that you guys can't just go in and enjoy an experience. You can't accept a movie or enjoy a movie for what it is you have to figure out the things that you would change about it, the things
ain't
that
it?
you don't like about it. I've never once heard you talk about a movie and not bring up things that were negative about it.
I mean, I know that's not true because Jay has made me watch some really shitty movies that he loves. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
There are plenty of bad movies that
I like
enjoy.
Roadhouse. It's not a good movie.
Trauma films.
That's
Brain Damage.
Roadhouse is totally a good movie.
Come on, bro.
All right, hang on.
Dude,
hang on.
that movie is a
Roadhouse.
blast.
Wait,
like,
hang on.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
It's like
guys,
it's like saying Die Hard is not a good movie. Like
I don't want to
Die
talk
Hard
about
is a
Roadhouse.
very good movie. There's a difference. There's a big difference.
All of the trauma movies, most of the Full Moon catalog.
okay, those are bad movies.
But they're fun and they're enjoyable.
But they're intentionally bad. They're literally trying to be bad.
Right. And they accomplished that. One of my other critiques about Abigail is that I didn't know what they was trying to be. Are you trying to be funny or are you trying to be scary?
It was trying to be funny action.
It's just trying to be a fun experience, man.
Like funny action.
It's literally the definition of a popcorn horror movie.
Hold on, everybody.
There's lots of popcorn horror movies that come out every year. Like this week, we're gonna see a movie do it bad. Like we saw with Imaginary. We already saw this movie with Imaginary and with
hold up a second. I'm gonna let you finish. But first, Beyonce deserved it. And now I totally forgot because ADHD. Scary. My philosophy on scary, you can't guarantee something is going to scare anyone. You can make a horror genre movie, but there is no guarantee that anyone who sees it will be scared at anything in the movie. It's still considered horror.
That is something that drives me up the wall is people that comment on my channel constantly, like every day, that movie wasn't a good horror movie. It wasn't scary. I'm like, dude, scary is literally one note of an entire symphony. I can name off 1,000 great horror movies that a lot of people would agree are great horror movies that are not scary. And like Bethany just said, scary is subjective. Like there is literally nothing that scares me anymore. Nothing in a movie. I have not seen any single thing that has scared me in a movie in many years. I've just seen too much, you know? But that doesn't mean that it won't still scare someone else. And that also doesn't mean that it's not a good movie, even if it doesn't scare you. Like, that's ridiculous. It drives me crazy. It's like it doesn't have to be scary. But what I was talking about with popcorn horror is every year there's loads of popcorn horror movies that come out. We've already had 2 big ones this year that are bad movies. And that was Night Swim and Imaginary. Both those were bad movies. Both those I talked about like I reviewed and straight was like, these are bad movies, even though they were just simply popcorn horror movies. The whole goal of those movies is just to be entertaining, lighthearted, just kicking back, having a little fun with the horror movie. Not
Can I give you an example of what I think
they were still bad.
We had one within the last 3 years that was I consider very, very similar to Abigail, and it worked for me and I think more people, and it was Violent Night. I think it's a much better film.
Violent Night's not a horror movie, really, though. That was more of an action comedy with some dark edge to it.
I didn't see it. I
think Abigail.
I love Violent Night. Violent Night is a better movie than Abigail. Like I agree, but I think it's a little different of a kind of thing. Like
because it's a similar setup in a way.
But this movie is a horror. It's using horror tropes. It's a horror character. You know, it's steeped in horror history, like it's universal. So I just think it's kind of a different thing than Violent Night. But Violent Night is a better movie. Like a Violent Night is a better written movie. You know, like, but that isn't. There are always, like, I could name off a million movies, right, that have a movie that are better than them, but they're still a good movie. Like. And that's what I talk about. You guys sometimes just gotta like be able to watch a movie and enjoy the experience and just embrace it for what it is, not for what it isn't.
So the thing is like
if there's more positive than negatives, then it's not a bad movie. That's, I guess, what I'm saying.
Kanan, let me ask you this: when you saw Die Hard and you liked it, you loved it, I'm sure, and then you saw what's the one with Steven Seagal? The one on a ship.
Oh,
Die Hard. Under Siege.
Under
And
Siege.
Under Siege was not as good of a movie as Die Hard. And then Air Force One.
Die Hard's way better, and it's all because of Bruce Willis. It's like I was saying before. Bruce Willis, as far as action goes, there is almost no one that performed better as an action character than Bruce Willis.
Let me get to my question.
I love John Claude Van Damme. I love I love Sylvester Stallone. I love Arnold. But to me, Bruce Willis played the best, like, badass action guy because he was human. You know what I mean? There was a real vulnerability to him. Bruce Willis can act really good, but especially in that kind of context. And that's why I was saying earlier, you can't compare Melissa Barrera to Bruce Willis. You just can't.
But you can if she's given a role in which she can actually not sound like a cardboard cutout. So you don't know.
Well, yeah,
I'm not judging
Melissa
her
Barrera Melissa Barrera can act like
I'm sure she
Scream 7, she did amazing. And like, I agree. She was given a lot more to work with in Scream 7 by the same directors. By the way, the same filmmakers did Scream 7, and she had a lot to work with and shined.
Well,
and that's what I mean by it's about what it's trying to do. Like, this movie isn't trying to have a McClane kind of character. Like that's not what because it's just not the type of movie they were trying to make.
It's not a type of movie. You have an iconic lead character. You should try and have an iconic lead character in everything you write. That's my point.
No, I don't agree, because sometimes a movie is about they want to like to me, I see this as a movie that's about the body of it, not about any one part of it. And if anything, I mean, the movie's called Abigail. Like, if anything, I feel like they realized they had, this little girl that was amazing. On top of the fact that
called Alien,
the movie's over, who sticks with you? Who stands out? But like, that's the thing about Die Hard. Who are you? When you walk away from Die Hard, who's the character you remember the most? John McClane, right? It's about him. When you walk away from Abigail, who's the character? The one that the name of the movie's after. Like, and that's why I feel like there's a little bit of you guys are, I don't know if I'd say you're missing it, but like, I feel like it's not quite accurate with that, because this is literally Abigail's movie. She is what is meant to shine in this movie. It's like the movie Megan. Yeah. But Sigourney Weaver was, I think that movie is like a 50-50 partnership. But like what I'm talking about is like Megan that came out last year. Megan, everybody walked away talking about Megan, even though she's the bad guy, she's the evil, robot, right? But nobody talks really about the little girl or the woman. They were great in it. They were just fine at playing those, like, they won. But see, that's a good example. And that's what I feel like this is. Like, Chucky was a star. It's like Halloween, right? It's Laurie Strode is amazing, right? But John Carpenter knew that Michael Myers was the star of his show.
All right.
And I felt like this is what this was trying to do. I don't know if it's going to get sequels or whatever, but I feel like that's the point, is this is meant to be one of those where the villain, the horror monster, whatever, is really the star of the show, just like Frankenstein or, and then that is a universal thing. It's like we don't think about the heroes in any of the Universal monster movies.
We need to move on. This has been a fun discussion. This has been good.
So I finally have a good point, and you're like, all right,
we need to move on.
No, you never did.
No, listen, man. Yeah, be happy that I'm giving you the last word, and I'm not going to jump all over you.
But
we need to move on, because we have
that it's ever about the last word with me. I just love conversation.
We have well here we're gonna get into another conversation.
We have lots of other stuff. Yeah.
We have a release date for Terrifier 3 for those of you who give a shit.
Well, that's not accurate. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. We've had a release date. We've had a release date for like a while now. They moved back 2 weeks. So it's coming out in early October now. But the bigger news that's kind of buried in this is that they have worldwide, like, full distribution. Whereas like Terrifier 1 and 2 had especially Terrifier 1 had none really, but they had really limited distribution. They were like, one of those like Fathom event almost types of deals. whereas this one's getting full distribution. So that's huge. So like instead of a movie that made 10 million and it was amazing, you know, this has the sky's the limit on what it can make. So it's like a much bigger platform.
So it's October 11th now.
Mm-hmm.
That is the official release date for Terrifier 3. And we get to see Art the Clown fucking up some town in Christmas. And there's a pretty good, I actually like this. I'm going to share
photo.
It. It's a pretty good poster.
Yeah, I have that on my wall.
There we go. Pretty good poster.
It reminds me of that part in Forrest Gump when he's running and he runs through the mud and then he takes the t-shirt and puts his face on it and then it makes the smile. It's supposed to make the smiley face imprint. That's what that makes me think of. Like he took Santa's bloody face and just made an imprint on his t-shirt, on his jumpsuit.
No, that's Santa's bloody face.
Hashtag Gemini thoughts.
He's wearing it as a mask.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it hanging from his neck.
Yeah, I see that now. But I mean, at least mine was actually a little less sinister.
Yeah. So that is the original teaser poster that came along with the teaser. But something that a lot of people, it's important that people know, is that was actually created before they ever started shooting this movie. So the scene from that teaser trailer, as well as that poster, may or may not ever even be in the movie. So like that scene, like that's basically taken from the trailer or whatever that they made, may or may not even be in the movie. So like there was a lot of hubbub about people being like, he's going to kill a kid and like freaking out and trying to boycott this movie.
Oh yeah.
He may kill a kid still. I don't know. But I do know that was never even actually part of the movie. That was more of just a hype thing. It was like made this little quick teaser thing to let you know that it's going to take place at Christmas time, you know, and get hyped because it's coming out. So that it was good for the hype train, but it also almost got them like, you know, like canceled before the movie even started shooting. So, but they just wrapped shooting like last week, I think, or a week before.
Yeah, something like that. So Kanan, you're probably gonna go see this in the theater.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I loved the second one. Like I was lukewarm on the first one. You know, I liked the, you know, I could see good, like I could see quality things in it, but there was like no story. Like the first one has no story at all.
I hate when you artist types do that.
Well, no, but
yeah.
But I'm not a filmmaker, man. I think that's part of why I look at movies a little different than you guys. It wasn't.
I was going to say, I think
say it as a negative per se. It's just more of a viewpoint thing.
Like even though I make films with Jay and I'm involved in that community and all of that, I still feel more on the layman side of things.
Yeah.
Like
well, you're from the actors and the, like, you're a little more like on my, like where I'm at, where I cover movies, I'm around that stuff, but I'm more of the person photographing it than I am the person making it.
Yeah. So I feel like, you know, we still have this, like, I don't know, like innocence to our movie watching sometimes. Horror movies anyway. I show a lot of forgiveness for horror movies, a lot. Yeah. Like this movie, there was a lot of things that drove me crazy about this movie. But it was still just like, you know what? This is fun. This is fun to go to a local theater and, you know, yeah, there's
Did any of you see Late Night with the Devil?
Not yet.
Yeah, we all saw it.
She's right behind you. No,
I was
we
going to bring
didn't
that
see it yet. Yeah, thank you. Bring it up.
Bethany, you said you hadn't seen it yet?
Neither one of us have seen it. Jay and I have not seen that.
It's on
Shudder I keep trying to get him to watch it.
It's on Shudder. It's on. Please watch it. Because
Leslie was talking about it earlier in chat, and I said, talk him into watching it.
Yeah, let's make that as our. We'll do that
as our
next week.
Behind me.
I was going to say, I enjoyed, I thought Late Night with the Devil did a better job being a fun horror movie that also
I was just going to say that. Like, if I were to rank, like, at this point, when I walked out of the theaters,
shit.
I had a blast with Abigail. So I ranked it. I was pretty, like, bombastic on it because I had a great time with it. I had a lot of fun. But then it's one of those, like, when I set on a movie and I dwell on it for 24 hours, 48 hours a week, like, then it starts to kind of find its place in my head on where it's ranked. And, like, some movies go up for me, some movies come down. Like Late Night with the Devil is one that kind of has gone up. The same with The First Omen. They're movies where, like, the more I thought about them and the longer they stuck with me, I was like, there's something there. If a movie kind of gets under your skin and sticks with you, and like Late Night with the Devil had some problems, but it's super, super low budget. It's like almost not even fair to compare it to Abigail when we're talking about a movie that had $1 million budget and took 3 countries and 9 different production companies to fund it, to make it, and they still only had $1 million budget. Like, it's hard to compare that to Abigail, but
they did a better job.
Yeah, I think it's a better movie. I think it's a better written movie. The acting is really, really good in it. It does a better job of telling these characters' story. But I also do think it's a little bit of a different movie. It's not as much of a popcorn movie. You know, like, I don't feel like it is just simply, like, it has some things to say. It is trying, there are different layers to it. It's not just simply like, I wouldn't say it's just a popcorn movie.
Well, I don't know. I mean, probably not popcorn, but I thought it was more enjoyable. I thought it did both things well. There's a lot
less humor in it, for one, though. Like,
well,
I mean, it's
very
moody. But
right, I don't want to go back on Abigail. I don't want to go back on Abigail. We gotta keep.
We're on Terrifier.
We got to keep marching. The only news was that October 11th is now the release date for Terrifier 3. So people who like that piece of shit movie franchise, they can go see it on October 11th. And
so judgmental.
I am.
Yeah, you losers.
That right there tells me
with your stupid, yeah, your stupid fandom. Go watch your stupid movie.
Yeah,
in October.
Dude, Terrifier 2 was so much fun. Like, I was not a big fan of the first one. Like I said, I was lukewarm on it. But Terrifier 2 is just a riot. It is one of those movies that realizes that if you turn the gore and the blood up, if you turn it up so far, it goes beyond the point where it makes you feel nauseous and scared and uncomfortable. And it goes into this new territory where it becomes humorous and, like, makes you uncomfortable, but in, like, a funny, weird tonal way. And that's what I think that Damien Leone gets as good as anybody I've seen in a very long time. Like, going back to the splatter movies from, like, the 70s and early 80s.
I guess.
But,
all right.
Anyway,
last piece of news before we get out of here, because we're trying to.
No, there was 2 more.
Oh my God, there's 2. Okay. All right, we're gonna go a little bit over an hour, but we're really trying to stick to an hour.
I know, but this is the one night that, like,
it doesn't
keep going. Just keep going.
All right.
We're actually having a real conversation with all 4 of us.
Well, all right. We'll keep.
James just got here.
Well, all right. Okay. All right.
He's the only reason I show up every Wednesday.
It's James. Yeah, and we'll do a chat roundup here pretty soon. But I do want to move on.
Stuckman.
Yeah, so Mike Flanagan just jumped on as executive producer of Shelby Oaks, the Chris Stuckman movie, who raised $1 million on Kickstarter. If you don't know who Chris Stuckman is, he is a YouTuber who used to give movie reviews. Now he doesn't, and that's a problem that I have.
That's not true.
Why do you have a problem with that?
So we got there's so much to unpack.
There's
so much to unpack with this, because he has issues with Chris Stuckman, and I understand a lot of people have the same issues with him, right? But, like, I push back on some of it because, like, we'll get more into the actual news story in a second, but the reason I push back on that is because I give very similar reviews to Chris Stuckman. I don't review very many movies that I don't like. Granted, he doesn't review any movies he doesn't like anymore. He only covers movies he likes. But here's the reason. But only reason he changed, and what he's doing now is once he started being a director and a filmmaker, which is what he's always wanted to do. He's made little shorts his whole life. It's not like he's just now trying to become a filmmaker. Like his entire life, his dream has always been
right.
To make
it's
movies.
Not like he went to Best Buy and he bought a Canon.
Yeah,
and
like literally.
And the next day you're getting an invitation to his photography page on Facebook.
Exactly. He's been making movies his entire life. But now that he actually got a real legit movie made and got it picked up, raised $1 million for it, shot the movie, worked with all these real actors, like named actors, producers, directors, all of this, and made friends with a ton of these people, he felt it would be disingenuous and just odd for him to now be talking about like fellow like people that he's going to work with, people that he has worked with, talk about their art projects and basically saying it's not a good one or a bad one. He just doesn't feel like it's the right thing for him to do anymore. So what he does now is he just talks about movies that he, for the most part, liked. Like he doesn't always think it's like the greatest thing ever, but he just isn't going to bag on movies anymore. So if there's a movie he really doesn't like, he's just not going to really talk about it. And he just talks about the things that he enjoys about the movies now and his experience, like from a filmmaker's point of view. So it's just a little bit different, but like a lot of people came after him because they're like, you made your fame, you made your money and all that from reviewing movies. It's like, now you get your movie made. And now you're like, I'm not going to be a critic anymore. But it's like, I think you can review movies like I do and like he does without being a critic. Like, I'm not a critic. I would say DJ is much more of a critic than I am. I never think of myself as a critic. I just think of myself as someone that watches movies and I can talk about them,
But you can critique, but you can still critique a film and give a authentic opinion without, I don't know, being
but I think he still does.
What I think he doesn't. He just
doesn't talk about movies he doesn't like.
He goes on his channel. He says, this is a movie made by these people and I liked it. Next. And it's like, well, what did you like about it?
How much have you watched his channel?
Huh?
How much do you watch his channel? He still talks about the things he isn't a big fan of in movies. Like he still reviews them. He just doesn't review movies he's going to like steamroll.
Tell me why. Like, you don't have to steamroll a movie. Like you don't have to do that. If you're going to critique
because
a movie,
of his platform, especially. And I know a little sliver of this, but when you get a platform, and I'm only a small part of it, right? But yet I've already found this with me. My reviews, as weird as it is for me to say this out loud, when I review something on my channel, like I literally will see it trending on Tubi. Like it's weird, but I have an actual impact on these people's careers. It's a small one, but it is an impact. When you have 2 million subscribers like he does, and he'll be trending a lot of times that he's one of the trending reviewers on a movie, like that can have a real world impact on filmmakers. And he just doesn't feel like that would be right of him to do anymore. It's almost like gambling. Like if you're a football player and gambling on football, like there's a little bit of that to it. And like, that's why I totally get where he's coming from. He doesn't want to stop talking about movies. He just doesn't want to have a huge impact on negatively affecting a movie.
Right. He's a coward.
I just think it's respect. I think it's respect.
No, DJ, I have a question for you as a filmmaker and as a harsh critic of other people's films. How not everyone is going to love your movie.
I know that.
What are you going to think? How are you going to take it when you see, the first negative reaction or review
but it's not about
this movie is utter shite, No,
that's why I don't think it's a coward
curious.
because I don't think it's Chris. I don't think it's Chris being afraid of like hurting people's feelings. I think it's legitimately I think it's legitimately about hurting their careers.
He came out and said
steamrolls a movie that like Madam Web, it'll make a big impact on its box office.
It's on it. He made a video explaining why he doesn't
review movies the same way anymore. It's because he buys into this,
few.
like he buys into this labor theory of value crap where because it's hard to make a movie, therefore he doesn't think he should say anything. He doesn't think he should say anything quote unquote bad about it because it's hard to make a movie.
That's not what he said.
Yeah. Okay. You want to bring up the video?
Did you
I'll bring
watch
it
the
up.
Madam Web? Are you talking about the Madam Web video?
No. Well, yes. So he says it there, and then he also says it in another video that he has on his channel. That is, it's like an update to the channel or something like that. Where
but that's really concentrating on what he said. Like you're kind of boiling it down, and there's a lot more to it than just that.
I want to answer Bethany's question though, because I am fully aware that there are going to be lots of people who do not like the Hellgate, who do not think it's a good movie. That's fine. And my philosophy when it comes to feedback and critique like that is there's a term that I like to use, which is eat the meat and spit out the bones. So I can read a critique or a negative review on my movie and I can find the meat in that, like where is somewhere that I could actually improve, or that maybe I had a misstep, or, I allowed Jay to get too creative. I'm kidding. Or where that is. And then also recognize when somebody's just being a hater, and that's not going to affect me because it's like, well, you just didn't like it. Fine. But that's not something that I'm going to like go to bed being like, I'm a bad filmmaker now, so that's how it is for me. I'm not trying, I'm always trying to better myself. This is my first movie. There's going to be flaws. There's going to be things wrong with it. I am completely aware of that. And I welcome that feedback because I want to know where people are seeing these flaws, where people are thinking that I can improve. But if you want to come on to IMDb or whatever review site, or you want to make a video of my movie and just be like, this movie's just shit, there's nothing good about it, then go for it. I mean, I don't care. That's not going to affect me. I also am not in this business to make friends and rub elbows with people. I'm in this business because I want to create art. I want to tell my stories. I want to make my movies. And if I develop relationships that way, great. But I'm not going to sit there and kiss your ass because I feel like you can pull me or push me in a certain direction. And that's what I feel like Chris Stuckman is doing when he comes out and says that he's going to stop giving reviews. He's going to stop reviewing movies a certain way because now that he's made a movie, he knows how hard it is. And I think that's cowardly.
I everything you said is kind of exactly how I see it. Like I won't ever, at least I don't think I will ever change how I talk about movies, because I've given some really bad reviews on certain movies, but for the most part, I think most of my reviews are pretty positive, but I just say it how I see it. I say it how I feel. I'm never trying to make someone feel good about their movie or feel bad about it. I'm literally just giving my opinion. And like, I think the difference though with what you said and what I like, where we stand on all this, and Chris is this is the biggest thing he said in the very first video he did after he finished and wrapped shooting Shelby Oaks. And this is why everything you're talking about, this video to me trumps all that, because the very first video he made when he said he was changing his format and the way he did things, it really boiled down to one thing. He said, I made a movie now. I feel like I'm a filmmaker. I don't feel like I'm a critic anymore. And I don't feel like it would be honest of me or right for me to make movies as a critic when I feel like I'm a filmmaker now. And so he's like, I don't want to stop talking about movies because it's just what you are. Like, it's just like me. I don't call myself a critic because I don't think of myself as a critic. I just think of myself as someone that talks about movies, just like a movie reviewer. Or whatever,
I don't know.
right?
I don't know this guy. I don't know the situation other than what you guys have just said on the show. And
on top of the fact that he's one of the most amazing people out there.
But,
dude. Like, the guy's a really nice
well,
guy.
no, but the thing is, doesn't being a filmmaker like now qualify him even more to be a critic?
Yes.
But it's about how he sees it. And that's why I push back on it. It's not that I push back on what DJ's saying as much as it's just, I think it's how he sees it. It's like, that's why I keep saying that it's that first video. It's like the first one when he talked about it, when he was changing his format. It's about how he feels and about how he sees himself now. It isn't
I mean,
it
he's
isn't that
allowed
there'd
that,
be anything wrong with it. Yeah,
but...
and that's what I'm talking about. And that's why I think people shouldn't be burying him, because he just was being like, dude, this is just, he's not telling people you should, like, he didn't at all. He came out and said, like, he did another review and he was like, dude, and he's tweeted it too and been like, guys, if you make movies and you want to review them and be, that's cool. Like, I'm not judging anyone for reviewing movies anymore or being a critic. He's like, that's an important job. He's like, it's just literally just not in me anymore. And yet, as time has gone by, if you've watched his reviews progress over the last year, he has gone more and more back to being he recently has done a couple reviews. I wouldn't call them bad reviews, but he's talked about problems in the movies. So like, he's kind of finding himself. He's like, he shot that movie and he felt this like excitement and this feeling of I'm now a movie maker, you know what I mean? And like, as time's gone by,
Yes, I do know what you mean, and I can
you know,
see what you're saying. And at first that made sense. His reasoning made sense of, oh, well, now I feel like, now I know how hard it is. And maybe, and if he would have said, I feel like I was too harsh of a judge, of a critic before, now I know how hard it is, I'm sorry, or whatever. But I feel like, it sounds to me, not knowing this guy, so I don't have a dog in the fight. It just sounds like now that he's a filmmaker, he understands that there are YouTube channels that are going to be reviewing his movies, and he doesn't want to piss anybody off. He doesn't want any negative reviews himself. Like, he can't handle the thought of that. So he's not going to review anybody's movies.
He only
negatively.
said that though, but he only said that long after, like, he only said that when the Madam Web video came out. Cause all this started when he did, for context for you and anybody that doesn't know. So like, he did a review sorta of Madam Web, and people freaked out because it, like, the thumbnail and what it said is basically he was going to review Madam Web. Right.
And then didn't.
And so yeah. And everybody expected to watch a review of Madam Web, and what he did instead, and he straight up says this. He's like, I'm not really going to give a traditional review of Madam Web because I felt like this is a movie and a time where I feel like it's important to talk about how much studios can interfere. And in this case, especially a movie like Madam Web, like Marvel is, Disney in general, is becoming famous for how much they're meddling with their filmmakers and like literally not letting these people make like they'll sign on to make one thing and then they put a monkey wrench in the whole process and they rush everybody, especially the effects department. And so he was talking about that. He's like, instead of talking about how good or bad of a movie this is, he's like, instead, I want to bring light and kind of like a little bit of behind the scenes to tell you guys about friends I have in the business, things I am aware of that you guys might not know. And like, I know he sees even more than I do, but like when you have friends and you know that people that work on these sets or work on these effects departments for these big, Marvel movies and stuff, they're getting fucked over, like completely screwed over. And yet they're the ones getting blamed. Like, and so he was basically saying defending the director of it and the people involved. Cause he's like, these people have made other things that are really good. It's like everybody's burying them instead of putting the blame on Disney and Marvel for what they're putting out. Like I just did with this is why, like when I reviewed Imaginary and Night Swim, I didn't throw the directors under the bus. I didn't throw the actors under the bus. Instead, I put it squarely on who I know is to blame, and it's Blumhouse, because Blumhouse is not putting the time or money or really giving a shit enough to make good movies. They're just trying to make fast cash with a lot of these movies. And that's what he was basically talking about. And so people freaked out because they're like, it's clickbait. We came here to watch you review Madam Web, and what you did instead was talk about behind the scenes stuff and talk about why you think the movie is, for lack of it's pretty much context. Like he didn't think the movie was good. He wouldn't be talking about who's to blame for it. You know what I mean? If he was thinking it was a good movie, but it's like, instead of burying the filmmakers. And so people freaked out on that. But like, I 100% agree with him. I don't think it's those, like any of the actors, any of the people on the set. I don't blame any of those people for Madam Web. Like it's one of those movies that is super obvious who's to blame for its shortcomings. Like, especially as
I would not say
stories
it's the
come out.
producers.
No, he said he didn't put it on the producers. He put it on Disney and on like the whole machine right now that is Marvel. Because he's like, they're not giving the writers the time to write these scripts. They're not giving the actors the time to develop. They're not giving special. They're literally rushing every process of it. They're cutting corners everywhere. They're meddling and interfering in everything. And like Madam Web it's like a horror story. The more you hear about behind the scenes on making that movie, it's just,
none of the interviews of the filmmakers of Madam Web had ever cited any concerns over the oversight of the film. They said that they were allowed to do everything that they wanted to do.
Of course they are. That's the directors. They don't want to lose their paycheck or get screwed over. It'll come out. Watch down the road. They'll talk about it. But I'm talking about like the smaller people that are not in danger. Like if you listen to what different special effects people, there's been tons of tweets from different people that were involved, but they're like the smaller people that are not going to, get their names out in the media and it'd be a big deal and lose. Because if someone, think about it. Disney owns Hollywood right now. Like if you go and you talk badly about a Disney movie you were involved in, you're not getting another Disney movie. You might not get another job, period.
Why would you want that on your record that you did a Disney movie when they're all just money sinks and bad? Like, why would you want to do that?
I wouldn't. I won't work for Disney.
So that's why I can't buy that, because everybody knows if you don't, then
I agree. I agree that they if they don't want to deal with that shit, they shouldn't go work there. Right. But that doesn't change what Chris was saying. He was, you know what I mean? He's not saying they should or shouldn't work for Disney, but he's saying
whether or not
doesn't change what Disney is doing behind the scenes. Either way, that was the whole thing he was trying to do. And I don't think there's anything wrong with talking about a deeper issue.
Yeah, he's trying to protect people that he wants to rub elbows with. That's all he was doing. He wasn't trying to give a review of a movie. He was just trying to
That's
protect
insane. If that's true, but he's throwing Disney under the bus. He's throwing Marvel under the bus as a filmmaker. No, it was nothing at all to do with who he's trying to butter up, because the last people you want to piss off right now is the people with the money, and Disney and everybody surrounding them are the people with the big amounts of money.
They don't have money though. They're losing billions of dollars every year.
Dude, are you serious?
Yes.
Disney can literally print money. They just make bad decisions and they're losing money, but they still have this unlimited pool of money. They're like Scrooge McDuck. They got this whole giant swimming pool of money.
Like Apple.
Yeah, exactly.
They can just say, well, we'll fucking throw our thing in and make a $4,000 headset.
That's a perfect example. That stupid fucking the VR thing that is literally losing them. Reportedly it could lose them $1 billion. That stupid Apple Vision Pro thing.
I think
they're charging $5,000 for that piece of shit.
$3,500 actually.
I thought it was $5,000.
No, it's $3,500. It probably is $5,000 if you start buying all the stuff, the accessories for it. But yeah, that's what Disney's like, and they can be arrogant. They are arrogant. And I'm an Apple guy. I use Apple to edit with.
Same
I think
here.
They're arrogant. They're arrogant. They don't give you the choices. They're like, here, this is take it or leave it. Disney's kind of like that too. They're like, take it or leave it. We're still here.
Yep.
And they've got money from the parks, money from all the things they own.
Exactly. That's why they can lose money like crazy, and it doesn't affect really anything. They just
if it doesn't affect anything, why are they laying people off? Why are they closing parks?
Because what he's saying is
they're cold-blooded, dude.
They lost $11 billion in streaming over the last year. The last 2 years.
But if you look at the percentage of what that actually, how it affected them, it's
it affected them enough that there's a coup in the board right now.
Of course, they're not going to keep doing things that are going to lose them money. But I'm saying it's not going to affect them. Like Disney's not going anywhere. You just
said that they would.
No, it's not. They're not going anywhere. No, I'm saying if they want to do something, it's just like he was saying with Apple. Apple's like, they're not going to do things if they know it's going to lose them money, right? But they also can lose money. Exactly. Like the Apple Vision Pro, the word is the reason they made that. It's nothing to do with them thinking they were going to make money off of it. It's actually about research and development for the future.
Right. Correct.
So they know down the road it's going to make like ridiculous money,
right?
And they're gambling on that whole like experience in general of being able to have like a computer on your glasses, so to speak. And it's just
also a cool way to watch a horror movie because
yeah, it's a fully immersive experience. And eventually that technology is going to be amazing. Eventually that will be the technology we all use.
Right.
Like eventually right now we will literally all just have like this pair of glasses on. Shoot, it'll probably get to a point where we don't even have glasses. It'll just be a little thing that you clip right here, kind of like the earbuds, you know.
He can't see without his glasses.
He can't see without his VR headset.
Yep.
That when they remake whatever that My Girl, when they remake it, it'll be a VR headset.
Yep.
Disney lost over almost $500 million in the box office from their movies in 2023.
They spend billions on those movies. Yeah, it's like you said, it's a percentage thing. It's like it sucks because if they were better, they do take chance. They are like, we don't care. We're just throwing money at movies. If they were better at selecting these movies, we'd be winning because they're spending a lot of money. They're just spending money on the wrong shit.
Yep. And
but where are they making that money then? Where are they making the money that covers these losses? Because they're not making it in streaming. They're not.
No, they're making money off of streaming.
No, they're not. Yeah. I just told you that how much money they've lost in streaming in the last 2 years. They've lost $11 billion.
But that's a lot to do with numbers the initial investment.
Down.
That's a lot to do with that initial investment. I think it's like an Apple thing. I don't think they're really losing money on streaming, or they wouldn't be doing it. I think I think they have a much bigger plan with it, or they wouldn't continue to invest into it. But either way, I mean, I'm not arguing Disney's losing money. I actually think we need to hold Disney's feet to the fire, though, and like call them out. You know, everybody, especially if you're an influencer on some level, like people need to quit accepting Disney putting out crap. You know,
well, like I mean, yes, that is also what needs to happen.
And so much of it has to do with the way they're treating their employees. You know, it's like everybody calling out Amazon Prime. You need to keep calling out Amazon Prime, because even if the product is decent or whatever, the way they treat their employees is not okay. Like,
okay, but the thing is, like, that's a whole nother soapbox, because nobody is gonna there are a few people that are gonna call them out, yes, but it's the same argument as back in the day when people were boycotting Walmart, when the whole documentary came out. No,
it's not about boycotting. It's what DJ's saying, where people are not watching Disney and Disney's losing money because they're not watching their service, right? That's how you get to them. It's not boycotting doesn't work, because you only get a fringe few people that make noise. The majority of people are like, whatever, get out of my way. You're in my way. You're annoying. I'm trying to get to work.
But that
how you really affect it is by just simply not
spend my money there is boycotting.
But it's not a traditional boycott. It's literally just Disney puts a movie out. Don't just go see it because it's Disney.
Not a protest, right? It's not a protest, but it's.
I'm not saying a boycott at all. Like, if it's a good movie, go see it.
Spend your money there.
I'm saying don't just simply go see Disney things because it's a Disney thing.
Yeah, well, I don't think audiences are doing that.
They're changing. They're starting to call them out on their stuff. That's what I mean. Like, go see their good movies. Don't go see their crap. Like, if it's a Disney animation movie, for the longest time, if Disney put out an animation movie, it made tons of money, period. No questions asked, right? It's not that way anymore. They lost so much money this year on that. What was that Dream one? The Wishes. They lost so much money on that. And that's what I mean by calling them out. But that's what I mean by calling them out. Like, you know, it's not a matter of like being like, I'm not buying any Disney products. I'm not doing it. You know, dude, that doesn't work. But
it all started with Shrek.
Just, you know, Shrek's not Disney.
No, I know. It all started with Shrek.
Yeah.
Making that financial change, that is still a boycott. That's my point. You don't have to vocalize it
but I don't think it's about. I don't think it's about not giving Disney your money. I think I'm just simply saying it isn't just Disney, because this is a widespread.
No,
thing
I know, but you're
just don't give your money to people unless they give you good shit. Like, that's what it comes down to. I don't care if it's Blumhouse, Disney, Fox, or I guess Fox is owned by Disney, but you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what company it is. I don't care if it's a tiny indie company, A24. Don't just go see it. Like, unless, you know what I mean? Like, hang on to your money, like make your money count. Like, it's like the whole reason I started my YouTube channel in the first place was so that people would wisely get these streaming services and actually get something out of their money. So they're spending $20 a month on Netflix. My channel is a service that you can easily watch and see, hey, there's 10 movies I can watch on, at least 10 movies I can watch on Netflix right now that I think I'll enjoy. So, okay, it's worth the money this month. Oh, look, he doesn't have any good movies. I don't want to see any of those movies. Well, you know what? I'm not going to have Netflix this month. Like, it's just choose what you spend your money on. Actually think about it. Don't just, you know, because people, that whole blind sheep, whatever, just follow the pack kind of idea that so many people have in this world. And that's what I'm talking about holding them to the fire. It's not about being like, I'm not giving them my money anymore because they're Disney. Just, you know, don't change your life. Don't be anything different. Just simply respect yourself and the money you make and the money you earn to spend it on things that are worthy of it. Like, if you're going to use an Apple Vision Pro, dude, by all means, if you can afford it, go get an Apple Vision Pro. But don't just buy it because it's Apple's new thing, like a lot of people are, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
Well, so that's a good transition into where should you spend your money? Probably going to see the new movie from the Talk to Me directors, Bring Her Back. Yep. A24 has announced the next horror movie from the Talk to Me directors called Bring Her Back.
Yep. They're still making a Talk to Me sequel. So this is not like...
I still have to watch the first one. So no
good.
Spoilers for me.
Good. It was my number 2 movie last year.
So this is...
What was your number 1, DJ? What was your favorite horror movie last year?
Because
I know When Evil Lurks, you weren't as high on that one, right, as I was. When Evil Lurks.
No, I really liked When Evil Lurks.
Because it was my number 1.
I got to think about it, but I want to read this first. So this is from Bloody Disgusting. A24 announces next horror movie Talk to Me directors.
A24.
I know. I'm sorry.
No one says A24.
I do. Deadline reports that brothers Danny and Michael Filippo, I don't know how to say it, will direct a horror movie titled Bring Her Back for A24 with Sally Hawkins in the starring role. Deadline report details, plot details are being kept under wraps on this secretive project, which is being produced by the Talk to Me duo, Samantha Jennings and Krista Seaton, or Caton, I don't know, from Causeway Films, whose credits also include The Babadook and The Nightingale. Production on Bring Her Back is expected to kick off this summer. And as we all know, Talk to Me was a huge hit, 92 million. And
how are you going to raspberry Babadook? How are you going to give Babadook a raspberry?
I tried watching that movie and I couldn't get 20 minutes in with that kid.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody hates that kid. That's kind of the point, though, of the movie. Like, I get that, though. But, like, beyond that, I mean, if you can get past the kid, the whole point, the reason I say that's the point is because a kid is meant to make you feel like the way the mom feels.
Oh.
It's to get you in her shoes because she is so, like, it's almost like the kid may not actually be that annoying because the whole premise of the movie is like you realize it's from her mind, like this is the whole thing is in her head, so it's like everything with him is kind of amped up because it's the way she's feeling overwhelmed, she can't handle the world around her. The reason I say that, though, is not even about like enjoying the Babadook. I totally understand people that don't enjoy it, right? But that movie was a huge game changer for horror. We wouldn't have an A24, we wouldn't have like tons of this, like, whatever you want to call it, elevated horror, this like more dramatic horror. I don't know what you want to call it, but we wouldn't have that if it wasn't for Babadook.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't hit for me. I didn't think it was, you said it, you said elevated. I disagree. I thought the story was pretty thin. Yeah. I thought the kid was annoying as well.
It's just that artsy kind of horror. It was like the beginning of people realizing, oh shit, this artsy kind of horror that's like somewhere between like filmmakers from like straight out of college And you know what I mean? Like there's this new thing that can be like, people will go see it. People will like, I'm not saying it's the best of them by any means, but I feel like it deserves credit because it's what can kick that off. That one and Follow Me, or is it
It Follows.
It Follows. Thank you.
Yeah, I liked It Follows a lot better.
Oh yeah,
I
me
like
too.
It Follows a lot better than Babadook. I don't know.
I agree.
Maybe I'll give Babadook another try, but when I watched it the first time, I was just kind of like meh. But Talk to Me was great.
Did you see Babadook when it came out though?
I think I saw it a year or two after it came out.
Because I'm wondering if you'd already seen other things that were kind of in that world. It doesn't matter. It's yeah, I get it. It's a movie that I totally understand. It's not everybody's bag, for sure.
It's not my bag,
yeah.
baby.
But I think this Bring Her Back movie is it has some optimism attached to it. I mean, again, Talk to Me was great. Bethany, Jay, you guys will probably like it.
Well, I heard that
movie.
they were writing this. They actually wrote this before they wrote the script for Talk to Me, and they're actually higher on this one than Talk to Me. There's just everything kind of lined up to make Talk to Me first, but this was one that they're supposedly really amped on. So
yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot because there's not a lot of plot to talk about, but as time goes on, we will get details and talk about them. But you guys, Bethany, definitely watch Talk to Me. It's good.
Yeah, it's on my list. So we just haven't. I gotta talk Jay. I have to groom Jay into watching horror movies.
Yeah, but that one's almost more.
That
one's more of like I mean, it is a horror movie, but it's almost more of a drama, like an It Follows, where there's like a lot of drama.
Yeah,
to it.
I haven't gotten
really
an
actors
yet either.
It's like a high level of acting, storytelling, characters. Like it has
there's
a lot of really
good
heady layers and issues to it.
There's a lot of good character stuff in it.
I jive with borderline. There's a lot of borderline, like Violent Night. I think it's like a borderline action. It had enough blood to be considered like slasher, I think.
Yeah.
There's a movie called Dead Calm, which I thought it was like, that was a really good movie. Hitcher, the original Hitcher with Rutger Hauer.
Yep.
Borderline, like.
But that's like honestly my favorite kind of stuff is the stuff that kind of bridges gaps, you know what I mean? And it like
Pacific
has
Heights. You ever see that?
multiple genres in it. So
yeah,
I don't think I've seen that, but
that's good.
Yeah, there's tons of movies like that. Like Mulholland Drive is like that, where it's like it is drama, it's artsy, it's horror, it's psychological. It's like.
Do you hate Mulholland Drive, DJ?
I don't. I don't hate it, but it's kind of a meme among some of my friends.
I was gonna say it's one of those you either love it or you hate it or you just haven't seen it yet.
I fucking adore it.
Best movie was The Straight Story, which was like a Disney-made true story. But I'm definitely in the minority there.
All right,
so you didn't like Twin Peaks?
He's weird.
He
is weird.
I think he's weird for the sake of being weird. He is. Oh, not my thing.
I love it.
Like, I think of his work as more of like, I do modern art, like modern art painting, contemporary art, like where it's about making someone think and make it like, it's about kind of controlling the viewer and giving them a certain experience.
It's like Tim Burton.
Less storytelling. Well, no, because Tim Burton's very story driven.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they both have their thing that when you're in there, it's their film.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm just saying, with David Lynch is not about a story. Like his stuff is
David
story
Lynch is like a fever dream,
very far down on exactly.
Yeah, but honestly,
it's way more of experience.
If you haven't seen it, watch the movie The Straight Story. You will not understand.
I never heard of that.
It's
so good.
Movie?
It's a true story of like some 80-year-old
like feel good movie of the year.
Some 80-year-old guy.
When was this made?
2000, early 2000s, 1990s.
Really?
It's a rated G, I believe. It's a Disney. I think it's a Disney franchise. He did it for some reason. I can't remember why.
It's so good. It has everybody's favorite old man actor.
Yeah, the sheriff from Misery. Remember that guy? He was in everything.
Yep.
Sissy Spacek plays his daughter, who had
That
a
guy
wow.
looks just like my dad, by the way.
and his brother is Harry Dean Stanton, and so his brothers. He hasn't talked to his
great
brother.
cast too.
Yeah, his brother hasn't. They haven't seen each other in like 20 years. They had a fight, and this is a true story. And he was 2 states away. He was like Wisconsin to I don't know where, but he heard his brother had a heart attack or a stroke or something, and he took his tractor to go see his brother.
Oh, I remember. I know what movie you're talking
David
about.
Lynch.
I had no idea David
Right.
Lynch did that.
Right. It's very.
I don't
sweet.
think I've seen it. I don't think I've seen it.
You should. It's got
Yeah.
a scene. It has this.
I mean,
one of
I
my
remember
favorite-
watching I remember seeing like the clips of the real story, the news
Yeah.
story, and like I remember when the movie was released, but I don't
It's
think I
well
ever saw
paced.
it.
It's slow. It's a burn. It has
Yeah.
a scene. I swear to you, it's one of my favorite scenes. There's a scene in a bar where this man sits next to what I swear is a real guy, probably a bar patron, and he just is like, "Tell me a story about World War II." The guy starts telling the story, and they're crying. I don't even remember exactly. I just remember going, "This shit's real." Like it's a real scene that he filmed, and I was like, "This is genius." The whole movie's it's called The Straight Story. Extremely simple. Like that's about as simple as you'll get from David Lynch. It's simple.
Yeah,
for a
because
lot
it's
of
mostly just as simply covering his journey, right?
Beautiful.
To see his
That's
brother.
beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Let's get to the chat before we go.
yeah. I'm going to do a chat roundup real quick. Let's try not to reopen any arguments with these chats, but I want to get them on the screen before we
We
get out
need a
of here.
name for our chat.
We do need a name for our chat.
They
but,
need to name themselves. Like
yeah,
Rat chat?
they'll name themselves at some point.
What did
but
you
they're
say?
great.
The rat
So-
chat.
the
So
rat chat.
they'll name themselves, but so Garrett says
They're the residents of the screaming room.
Garrett says it seems nice to say Abigail has outgrossed Renfield in the last voyage to Demeter, but it's still considered a box office flop. It's sad. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Demeter and Renfield were also bad and didn't make money. So
The only
It
one of
doesn't really
those that
surprise me.
I think is really like I did not expect Abigail to make a bunch, and I totally get why Demeter didn't make much. The only one to me that's ridiculous is Renfield, because Renfield is a fantastic comedy, and like the only thing I could think of, it was just poorly marketed. But that movie's not horror at all, and that's what I mean by poorly marketed. Like it was marketed to horror people. It's not. Like that movie's a straight up comedy.
Like Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, exactly. Like Young
really?
Frankenstein.
Wow.
Exactly. That's why I
Leslie's-
loved it, is because it's like silly slapstick. It's just like it has a great time with itself.
Leslie
And,
says, "Sorry, I want to get through these." Kenny likes Renfield. I finally saw Late Night with the Devil. Really liked it. The ending was wild. Yeah, that was quite the ending.
that's a lot of people.
Spoilers.
That's a lot of people's main criticism. Actually, is the ending of it. So I'm really curious to hear what your guys' opinion will be on it next week.
Terry
Yeah,
says
you guys see
hi.
it.
Hi, Terry. Good to see you. Let's see what else do we have going on?
See her?
Garrett asks, "What about To Live and Die in L.A.?" The movie killed it. That movie killed its lead.
Fucking love that movie.
I don't
Yeah,
even know what that is.
Oh, that's a William Friedkin movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From like the
Really good.
80s.
Very, very 80s. Very 80s. Really good.
Okay. That's strange that I haven't seen it.
Zach was in the chat for a while. Nerds.
No,
Hi,
for
Zach.
like a second, and then he leaves.
Oh.
No, I don't
He's like that
know
kid
Zach.
that says here for attendance, and then
It's like a
they
drive-by.
sneak out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like
They
they
checked in
sneak
the
out
home
the
room.
door.
Yeah.
James is in the
Sure.
chat. Says you like Terrifier 1 more than 2. He
I
said
know,
2
James.
2 was too cornball like Army of Darkness. I will not have Army of Darkness slander in my chat. So
Oh, blasphemy.
See,
Yeah.
that's what's so interesting to me, how you can enjoy that and get that, because like that is exactly what I'm talking about, where it's not a perfect movie. It's got like if
Is
you
it
look at
because
it through
you're
a
not cool if you say that Army
just-
of Darkness is a bad movie? Is it?
I
is
just
it-
wonder
is that
if
why?
it's because it's
you think?
old and because you've seen it your whole life.
no,
Yeah.
I don't think it's like Oscar worthy, but I like watching that movie. I think it's very enjoyable.
Because I love it, like I adore it, like, but I just think that it falls in a lot of ways into that same category where, you know, like that's kind of the charm of it in a way. And like I think a movie like Abigail can easily over time fall into that same category. I don't know if Abigail will, but I'm saying like where it falls into that cult classic category because of it's like it's the way I've always looked at tattoos. Tattoos are scars. Like literally a tattoo is a scar. And what I love about tattoos is that they don't look perfect and that everybody's look different. Even if you get the same image put on you that's on me, it's literally going to be different because every single thing about it changes it the moment it's on you versus me. Like, you know what I mean? And like, so it's what I appreciate about art. It's like, I don't need it to be perfect. I can enjoy the flaws and holes and problems sometimes as part of what, especially like a movie like Army of Darkness, it's part of what adds to that charm. Like the hokey special effects, like, you know, some of the practical effects in it are just so ridiculous.
I'm like that with comedies. Like, you know, obviously like Caddyshack was a very
Monty Python.
Yeah, they're great because it's a different. I go there for the laughs. It's not necessarily, but if I go see a movie that has more weight to it, I want to see.
But that's what I mean. A movie like Abigail is meant to be more.
Sorry, we're still arguing
like
over the last stuff. I think we were. Dad.
No, it's okay. We're not. I'm still going. Lil Boozy's in the chat says, "Hey Bethany, how's Lady Iboshi or Ibashi? I don't know how do you pronounce that.
Iboshi, Lady
You've never
Iboshi.
seen Princess Mononoke? DJ.
No, I haven't. I'm not really into anime.
Grounded.
No,
You're
trust
getting
me.
the finger.
Trust me.
Okay.
I know. I'm not an anime person either.
You got to see that movie though. It is fucking great. It's
Lil
pretty
Boozy
violent.
says, good question though, DJ. I don't remember what the question was. Boozy.
The question I asked you about how are you gonna take it when somebody's like, this movie is utter shite.
Oh yeah. James says, I
He
thought the
won't
Marvels.
know, to be 100% honest, he won't know until the movie's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
James says, I thought the
It's
Marvels was worse than Madam
impossible.
Web. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like,
dude, that's a tough one. I'm not saying you're wrong because to me they're both, but I put the Ant-Man Quantumania right in there. The worst one to me was the Eternals. Like that's the one that I just thought was like I wasn't even entertained by it. Like there was nothing even entertaining. I was just like, when is this going to be over?
Lil Boozy says, at least you're not Neil Breen. I will also not tolerate Neil Breen slander in this chat.
Yeah, like see, that's yes.
But that's good because it's so bad.
But no Breen knows that. Like
No,
he
he
literally
No, he doesn't.
No, he
yes,
doesn't.
he
does not know.
No, he's the greatest. He would be the best. I can't even
I think he's just like the guy that made The Room, where he knows he's in on the joke.
No,
he's not.
I don't think Neil Breen was back in the day, but I think there's no way Neil Breen doesn't realize now that his stuff is seen as a joke.
Neil Breen is right. Neil Breen is unironically who David Lynch wants to be.
What?
That's what I've always considered Neil Breen, is that he is unironically doing what David Lynch wants to be doing.
I think it's the opposite.
I wanted to get to this.
Yeah, I'm sure David Lynch wishes he had Neil Breen's
had no money and I think
I'm
it's
sure.
Neil Breen money.
Because David Lynch literally makes whatever he wants and anytime he needs money, he can find it. Like,
first off, have you guys seen Neil Breen fight a tiger?
No.
Shit.
I just
James says
must know now that people think he's a joke. Like he may still think his stuff's good. I'm not saying he doesn't think it's good, but I'm saying I think
James has a comment about Night Swim. What does James say about Night Swim, DJ?
He said Ghost Pirate sure doesn't make anyone feel swim.
Feel what?
Good about.
Yeah, he said you don't make anyone feel good about Night Swim.
It's fucking trash, dude. Like it's fast food. It's literally just Blumhouse trying to make money and not giving a flying fuck. Like they literally bought a short, paid the guy, from what I've heard, very little money for the short and to have him go make it. But he's young and was like, I'll make a movie. Like, all right. But he was basically like the cheapest possible way to get someone to come and make a movie. And then everybody involved, they spent as little money as possible. And they put it out in January. Like everything about it was Blumhouse just trying to make money.
Well, and
it was money that there was no way they could lose money on.
Boozy also says Blumhouse is an exploitation studio. Every now and then something fun, not necessarily great or even good, comes out. Yeah. But we've talked about this before. Blumhouse is the McDonald's of like horror movie studios.
It's not quite that though, because they do still make some quality stuff. It's more of like they make a bunch of cheap shit. No, they make a bunch of cheap, like low grade crap, and they take that money and then they spend a little more to make stuff like The Wolfman that's coming out next year from like, you know, a legitimate, respected director, filmmaker with legitimate actors. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're doing what A24 is trying to do now, kind of, but in reverse. So like A24 now is taking the money they make from all these little movies to make a few big ones, but they're not doing it in a way of making cheap, shitty ones. So they're trying to still make quality, you know. Blumhouse is just like, they've realized we can put out these $1 million movies because that's literally, they're famous for it. They have $1 million budget. No matter what your idea is,
like 1 to 5,
will not get more than one. Yeah, I guess it is like now more like,
it's like 1 to 5 million. That's what they do.
Yeah, but originally it was 1 because they did that for like a while. They were known for the one, but and then they make a couple that are like 40 or 50. You know, but what bothers me the most is that they go and spend $250 million to get the rights to The Exorcist. So it's like you take it. No, 250 was to the rights, wasn't it? And then they spend another whatever to make these movies, like on the making the last one.
I'm looking it up right now.
Was it 400 for the rights?
Yeah, it's Universal and Peacock paid $400 million for the rights to the Exorcist franchise.
Yeah.
It includes the rights to 5 films and 1 TV series.
Yeah. So either way, they go and spend that kind of money on that shit. And it's like, and then you take advantage of all these tiny filmmakers, little artists trying to make a name. And like, it just rubs me the wrong way. Like, cause I'm not saying don't, like, that's fine. Get little indie filmmakers, give them $1 million. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But then they go and make them like they do, where they have none of the things that they need to make a good movie. They don't get the time they need. They don't, you know what I mean? It's like A24 does the same thing and is able to make money. Like, you don't have to put out crap, you know what I mean, to make money. Like, that's
all right. Last chat before we head out.
I mean, look at Neon.
Boozy wants to know if we can do super chats. He wants to know what everyone's favorite fast food and fast food horror film is.
We can't do super chats yet.
Answer to that first one. Cannot do super chats yet because we are not monetized on YouTube. So in order to get us monetized, we have to have 1,000 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours. So if you have not yet subscribed to Bloodscribe Creations, please do so. We are just over 700. We're so close. We're in the home stretch to that 1,000. But we're about halfway through watch hours. So go through and watch our stuff. We have a bunch of short films that you can watch. And then I'm going to hopefully start to post more videos on the Hellgate as we progress with that. But that's what super chat. Whoa, we got
But these podcasts add up fast. So if you just leave us playing in the background while you're doing laundry or whatever, like those, each one of these episodes are like a couple hours, like it adds up. So
so please,
you should edit the house and put that on. Put that up. You got a nice
edit the house. I know. That's I know.
Or give me the footage. I'll cut it.
Yeah, it's another short film that Jay and I did, and it's just it's in limbo right now. But James, sorry, okay, last chat. James, yes, I did like your Ghost Pirate movie idea. I wanted to bring it up, but we're trying to get out of here. We're really trying to make the show 1 hour.
What movie
Talk
idea?
About Abigail for 45 minutes, and we had a lot of news stuff to get to.
What movie idea?
He had a movie idea. It's up in the chat. Maybe you guys can talk about it. But we got to get out of here.
Did?
We got it. Yeah, James did. But we got to get out of here. We got to wrap up. Please subscribe to Bloodscribe Creations. Like this video and share our stuff.
I want pizza.
The YouTube algorithm likes it when you share stuff. So if you like our short films, please share them around. If you like this
sharing way is beyond liking, beyond anything you can do anymore is sharing.
Please share.
We caught a Boshi for you.
And there's a Boshi. There she is. All right.
Hi.
Jay, Bethany, where can everybody?
She grabbed her beautiful cat.
Where can everybody find you if they're not interested in the Screaming Room, but they want to see what you guys are doing?
Shoot the Sky, ImageWorks, and my favorite fast food is Wendy's, and my favorite fast food horror movie is Tremors.
Yeah.
The popcorn, I mean. You know, it's like a popcorn.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it fast food. Popcorn. Fast food is like cheap shit. You know, like it'll just
Blair Witch.
Yeah. No.
It's cheap.
All right, Bethany, did you want to?
No, I'm saying cheap shit as in it's like it'll do the job, I guess, but it's not good in anybody's standards.
Oh yeah, just McDonald's. That's my favorite. But
I like, man, I want.
And you can find Bethany at Shoot the Sky ImageWorks as well.
But someone said pizza. Garrett said pizza. You need to buy me pizza, Garrett.
All right, Kanan, what's your favorite fast food? And then we're out of here.
Right now, it's In-N-Out Burger. It has been for a while. All you guys out there thinking that Whataburger is decent, you guys just have not had In-N-Out Burger. And also, people that try In-N-Out for the first time, they're like, it's not that great. It's because In-N-Out is one of the places this is more important than anywhere else. You have to find the right combination of what you like on it. So like if you want to get a Kanan, it's a 3x3 animal style with light spread, light lettuce, light tomatoes, and light pickles, light well done fries, and a large drink. That's a Kanan. Literally, I have an In-N-Out near me that I walk into and they know my order. I don't even have to say.
I had In-N-Out once, and I'll say I like Fat Burger much better.
Fat Burger. Oh, that's the one I have. That's kind of different though, because Fat Burger is more of a sit-down restaurant, isn't it?
It's like a Five Guys. It's kind of in between.
Yeah,
it's hella good.
I thought it was. I thought it was. I mean, I thought it was good too. I just don't know.
My In-N-Out
like In-N-Out is fast food.
Well, my In-N-Out experience was somebody traveled in traffic for like 40 minutes. By the time it got to me, the fries sucked. So I haven't had an actual experience yet. You
got to make sure your fries are well done, light well. Don't ask for well done because then they become like chips.
All right.
In-N-Out, I don't know why. It's like Chick-fil-A. The fries are like super flimsy, like they barely cook them.
All right. My favorite
DJ
fast food,
is in such a hurry to go.
I'm trying. We tried to make a commitment to 1 hour, and we are 7 minutes away from
2 hours. So you might as well talk for 7 more minutes. So then it's a nice round number.
My favorite.
I got something to do.
I know, me too. DJ, geez, wrap it up.
It's Swenson's. You can only get it in Akron, Ohio. So if you are traveling through Akron, Ohio,
really? So you wouldn't put Sky Chili or
no Skyline Chili? That's a meme. Skyline Chili's a meme.
That's what Leslie said too. She said,
they only like it in Cincinnati,
really
and they don't even really like it there either. But
it's
anyway,
so weird putting chili on spaghetti.
Yeah, it is weird. All right, we're out of here. Thanks a lot for everybody for joining us. Come back next, and we will see y'all next week. Bye.
Peace.